Hey everyone, it's Author Maria J. Estrada, and as you can tell by my noob videos, I've been learning a lot these last few days. Part of the reason I came on YouTube is because I wanted to have a guest. I was having a hard time adding against a Facebook live stream, which is where I usually do my episodes, and my cat's running around. But I decided to use YouTube because I heard it was easier to bring on a guest. I have a guest, Preeti, who is Jay Mehta's wife, coming on in a week and a half or so. She thinks I might be able to have Jay on. I don't want to push it because he had a stroke. And so, anyway, but I'm really excited to have either one on. But I was really like, I get up early in the mornings, like at 3, 1, 2, and this morning I decided to try and do a little bit of a movie clip for a video. My son, who's 9, he's got his own YouTube channel called Antonio the Human. Antonio says my intro was a little too long, so I was like, well, I decided to see what other authors were doing or reviewers. And it's not just writers who do reviews, like PewDiePie had an interesting channel and others. And I realized, like, he's right. My intro is a little too long. So I decided to take the advice of other YouTubers and do a thumbnail. And one of my friends, author Steve Carr, was telling me, well, your thumbnail needs to show your humor. So I hope I accomplished that. I also like the idea of having the books on top. Those books you saw there were all the books I've reviewed in the last 2 weeks. So I'm hoping to do more. Actually, one of them I have to review the 50 best stories of Steve Carr. I probably butchered the title, but I wanted to have a go at a little mock book review. This is one that I already did on Amazon and I believe also Amazon, my blog, on Goodreads. I also reviewed it on BookBubs. Yeah, that's the one I can never remember. BookBubs. So it's The End of the World Running Club by Adrian J. Walker, and I'll do a better job of showing that. It's a post-apocalyptic piece of literature. I happen to write in this genre and I love it, but I thought the quality of the book was beautiful. The cover was great. I've had the pleasure of reading another book by him since then that I've also reviewed. But one of the ways that I want to do my book reviews, maybe a little bit different than other people, other YouTubers, is that I want to talk about what I love about the book as an author and what I love about the book as a reader. And obviously, those two things are different. And what I loved about this book as a writer is that he did a phenomenal job of developing this anti-hero. And I got to tell you that for a majority of the book, um, I didn't like this main character. His name is Ed Hill. And essentially, Ed Hill lives in England. And what happens is that there's a series of meteor showers that devastate the country. And he and his wife and his 2 kids suffer like tremendous ordeal. But through this whole time, he is such a huge whiner. And they get separated. And I have to say it's his fault. They get separated. And the main character has to jog a very long distance to meet his wife at a port as ships are departing. Now, I won't spoil the ending, but during this journey, when he has to jog, he's also a corpulent guy. He is the biggest whiner. And even though I didn't like him as a character, I thought the way that Adrian developed him was brilliant. He had like the character had internal and external struggles, and they escalated. And there were other really great characters in there that were really amazing. Um, so in terms of that, I was jealous. I'm like, oh, I wish I had the skills to develop a fantastic anti-hero. But what I loved about it as a reader is that even though I didn't like the main character, I really loved the ending of this book. It left a glimmer of hope in a way that good post-apocalyptic literature should do. I also loved the dialogue. It was funny. There were just some really, really great bits in the piece. And so it had some really lighthearted moments and some really terrible moments where the main character does things to survive that are questionable. And there was another character, Norma Jean, I believe was her name. Yeah, who was this woman who was similar to Negan, and she was just like super power hungry. So as a reader, I really enjoyed these interactions between these villains and the main character, you know? So really great job overall. There is a sequel to this book called The End of the World Survivors Club, and by some stroke of luck, I was tweeting at Adrian J. Walker, and he promised me a copy of it, which hasn't gotten here. I'm gonna message him and say like, "Hey man, where's my free book?" I just kidding. Now he lives in England, and his publishing house, Source Books, happens to be in the suburbs here of Chicago, I believe in Niles. So I may actually really contact him and say, "Hey, I'm looking forward to the book." But more likely, I'm going to buy the audiobook because Sourcebooks does do a really great job of the Audible books, and also the Kindle books are great too. So I like to listen to the books on my way to work and when I'm grading papers because I'm a college professor. But I also like to read the books before I go to bed. So I highly recommend it. And on the Amazon reviews, it got like up and down reviews, but I thought it was fantastic. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you'll enjoy it. If you have read any of Adrian J. Walker's work or The End of the World Running Club, leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Oh, and separately, I totally forgot. I run a Facebook club along with my colleague Alyssa, and we're going to be reading this book next. So if you want to join us, I'm going to post a link below in the description so you can join the group. And I was giving away free copies of the book. I'm not anymore, but he had a deal for $1.99 that was phenomenal. But join in, and hopefully you'll be able to be part of that wonderful conversation. Anyway, that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed this soft review. Hopefully I'll get better at these. And I always end with right on, but maybe for book reviews, read on. Have a good evening.